guys, welcome back. So today we have another viewer story for you guys. As promised, all the way from Atlanta, we are going to have Natalie join us in a couple of minutes after I tell this story so we can ask some questions and we can get like her input, insight. She could chime in on this story that I'm about to tell you guys. So yeah, we are about to get into that right now. Grab your popcorn, grab your shit. Let's get do it. Back to about 2 years ago. My friend Natalie meets this guy. His name is Z. We are going to call him Z for the sake of privacy because we don't want to expose anybody here at Storytime with Rikkii. Our goal is not to expose, but just to have a platform to share and tell and express and hopefully learn from other people's mistakes, experiences, etc. Anyway, so she meets this guy named Z. They hang out from time to time, but nothing too serious. Natalie ends up dating somebody else, so they cut off whatever they have going on and go their separate ways, right? So a year later, they run into each other and they spark things back up again because now Natalie is single and so is Z. Z is single too, so they now start being friends, right? They're friends, right? Cool. They start hanging out. Long story short, she ends up having to move to a different part of Georgia for work. So she moves to Savannah, Georgia. So they're still communicating and they still like hang out and kick it every time they do see each other. So it's like when they do see each other, it's like, okay, that's my little boo. We'll do what it do. You know what I mean? So they start hanging out, and while she's living in Savannah, Georgia, he's like, I'm having a party at my house. Why don't you come? You can spend the night here, blah, 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 right? So she's like, cool. She comes down, she comes to the party, everything's cool. But right off the bat, she notices that his apartment is a 2-bedroom apartment, and it's very feminine, right? Like got roses and shit all over the place, like, potpourri and shit, furry pillows and shit. So she's like, I've been to your old place and it was not decorated like this. This place definitely has a woman's touch to it. So he's like, yeah, my ex, she still lives here. Bitch, run the fuck away, okay? As soon as you fucking hear that, run. I don't want to hear nothing out of your mouth after that. If a lives with his ex, she is his current. I don't care what nobody says. They still fucking, they still sucking, they still doing something, okay? There is no way that you're living in the house with your ex and y'all just motherfucking coexisting. Anyway, so he's like, the lease isn't up yet. I'm still living here. I'm in the guest room. It works out perfectly because she travels a lot for work. So I hardly ever see her. She's never here. And, it works out because I'm still on the lease. Whatever. She's like, cool. Must be true, right? I'm here spending the night. The bitch ain't here. So I guess he's telling the truth, right? So after this, his story seems a little bit more believable because she's been to the apartment many times. Like she's had friends over at the apartment. They've had parties over at the apartment with both his friends, her friends. They just powwowing it up, right? All up in this bitch's apartment. And, his story seems very believable because she's not there, right? So obviously he's telling the truth, right? So fast forward, she ends up moving back to Atlanta, and of course she gets her own place. So now her place becomes the place of kicking it. So no longer at his place, but now they're at her place. His friends, her friends, everybody's hanging out over at her apartment, right? 6 months and they're still kind of doing this casual dating thing, right? Like we all know what that means. We've all been there. Casual dating never fucking works out for nobody because feelings get involved, right? Like you start liking the person, you start not wanting them to see anybody else. So whatever, that's what was going on with them. She would see him out and she would start feeling away. He would see her out and he would start feeling away. So they're like, okay, let's stop this casual dating. We're not going to jump into a relationship, but let's be intentional with what we're doing. We're going to start intentionally dating. So in other words, that means cut off your bitches. I'm going to cut off my dudes, and we're going to see where this goes, right? That's what dating with intention is. They decide to start intentionally dating, which comes with more expectations. So of course, my friend, she starts having more expectations of him, and she's starting to realize that he's a little flaky. So red flag. If a guy is flaky, he's not sticking to plans, he can't be consistent with a routine, that usually means that something is going on anyway. So she starts noticing off the bat that he's flaky, right? Can't make dinner plans, can't make, certain obligations that are at certain times and certain dates. But she's thinking, okay, maybe he's still talking to other girls. Maybe he hasn't cut off his other situations, and that's why he's being flaky, but whatever. She's still spending a significant amount of time with him. She's spending at least 3 to 4 days out of the week with him, and she's with him all the time, right? Another red flag that she starts to notice is that he comes over all of the time, but he never spends the night, right? So red flag, motherfuckers. Like, that is a red flag. If a guy will not spend the night with you, it is because he has a bitch waiting for him at home. There's no other reason behind it. That happened with me and asshole Jay. He would never spend the night. He would come over all the time, but he would never spend the night. He always had an excuse. I like to sleep in my own bed. My son's gonna be home in the morning. The kid is always a perfect excuse to get out of everything. That's why I don't date with kids no more, because it's always an excuse, and you can never say shit because it's a sensitive topic. Anyway, so okay, she's like, okay, I guess I can understand that. He wants to go to work in the morning from home. He wants to spend time at home. He likes sleeping in his own bed. She's like, I'm the same way, so I get it. But boo boo, what about on the weekends? Like, on the weekends you ain't got work, you don't got no excuse, whatever. So red flag. We just ignore him. Anyway, so she's like, okay, so I noticed like he never wanted to spend the night. But so another thing that she notices is that there is a girl calling a lot, right? She notices that this one name calling a lot on his phone at weird hours of the day, calling all the time. A girl,
Brittany.
right? So she, of course says, oh,
Brittany.
I noticed that she calls you a lot. And he's like, okay, she's one of my coworkers. She likes me. So she calls at weird hours of the day. I've tried to tell her about it, but she don't listen. So whatever, she's just a coworker. So one night he gets drunk, right? He gets fucked up and he passes out at her house. Mistake number one, because now I'm about to go through all your shit. Okay, so he passes out drunk at her house and his phone starts ringing. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Who do you think is calling? It's
coworker,
right?
bitch.
So Natalie, bold little birdie, she picks up the phone. Tune in next week to see what happens. I know, I ain't shit. I've been trying to figure out how to get my video shorter and to keep you guys engaged, and I figured it out, motherfuckers. If you want to find out what happens between
Brittany Ho,
you are going to have to tune in next week, and I will finish the story. I know you hate me. I know I suck. I know. Anyway, so tune in next week. As I said, Natalie is joining me to chime in on this story. If you like my sweatshirt, it is from my brand. For those of you who don't know, I do have a gym to swim line, Sun and Sweat. It is my baby. So yeah, check it out. It is activewear and swimwear, and it is gym to swim, meaning that all of our pieces can be worn interchangeably in the gym or in the pool. Get your bitch some, get your side bitch some, get your side bitch some. You know what I mean? For Christmas, it's the holidays. This is the season of giving. Anyway, tune in next week. I'm gonna finish the story up, and I have Natalie with me, and we're gonna talk all about it. Okay.